Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
The American people need to understand what just happened. My Democrat colleague just asked the director of the FBI whether or not they are buying information about our fellow Americans. And the answer is, well, we'll just have to get back to you on that. It sounds really complicated. But I have other questions. I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you. But let's go from the uncurious to the downright nosy. How many illegal FISA queries have occurred under your leadership of the FBI?
Well, there are reports that have come out with different numbers about compliance incidents.
More than 1 million illegal ones? Because that's what the Inspector General said. The Inspector General said that in the 3.4 million of these queries, more than 1 million were in error. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment by the Inspector General?
I'm not sure actually that's a correct characterization of the Inspector General's findings on that.
The internet will remind you of that in moments. But let's now go to what the court said. The court said it was over 200,000 that have occurred on your watch. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
Again, I don't have the number as I sit here right now. What I can
Seems like a number you should know. How many times the FBI is breaking the law under your watch, especially if it's like over 1 million, to not know that number? And I'm worried about your veracity on the subject as well. Play the video.
Letters for investigation of the Capitol. I don't believe FISA is remotely implicated in our investigation.
So there, Senator Lee's asking you whether or not FISA was in any way involved in your January 6th investigation, and you say no. Was that truthful?
I said that I did not believe it was.
Okay, so now let's pull up what the court said, which was something a little different than what you said. So here, nope, that's not the right one. Yeah, here we go, right there. It says, the government has reported additional significant violations of the querying standard, including several relating to the January 6, 2021 breach of the Capitol. So I guess the question, Director Wray, is did you not know when you were answering these questions that the FBI was engaging in these illegal searches, or did you perjure yourself to Senator Lee?
I certainly didn't perjure myself. At the time that I testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, I didn't have that piece of information. I will add.
Well, that was a court order. You didn't have that piece of information because the court hadn't yet rendered a judgment. Did you not know when you gave the untruthful answer before Senator Lee that this was going on?
It was a truthful answer. I did not believe FISA had been involved in the January 6th
But it was. So you didn't. The answer is the FBI has broken so bad that people can go and engage in queries that when you come before the Congress to answer questions, you're like blissfully ignorant. You're blissfully ignorant as to the unlawful queries. You're blissfully ignorant as to the Biden shakedown regime. And it just seems like it gets into a kind of a creepy place as well. Go to our next image on what the court said. Like, just so the American people realize, the court has smacked you down ruling FBI personnel apparently conducted queries for improper personal reasons. People were looking themselves up. They were looking their ex-lovers up. Who has been held accountable or fired as a consequence of the FBI using the FISA process as their like creepy personal snoop machine?
There have been instances in which individuals have had disciplinary action and who are no longer with it. I can't get into it here, but we can follow back up with you.
Don't you see that that's kind of the thing, Director Wray, that you preside over the FBI that has the lowest level of trust in the FBI's history? People trusted the FBI more when J. Edgar Hoover was running the place than when you are. And the reason is because you don't give straight answers. You give answers that later a court deems aren't true. And then at the end of the day, you won't criticize an obvious shakedown when it's directly in front of us. And it appears as though you're whitewashing the conduct of corrupt people.
Respectfully, Congressman, in your home state of Florida, the number of people applying to come work for us and devote their lives working for us is up over 100%.
We're deeply proud of them, and they deserve better than you.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Director Wray. I thank you for continuing to serve with all of these attempts to sully your name, suggest you've committed crimes when you've done an excellent job as FBI Director. I don't agree with everything you've done, but mostly I do, and I think the FBI is our premier law enforcement agency, and I support law enforcement. To attack the FBI is to attack law enforcement in general. A few days after Mar-a-Lago, there was some individual went after the Cincinnati headquarters of the FBI. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you think that came about?
So the incident that you're asking about was obviously deeply disturbing. We had an individual wearing a tactical vest, armed with an AR-style rifle and a nail gun, who attempted to forcibly enter and attack our Cincinnati field office. A subsequent review of the subject's devices and online postings identified a pretty striking anti-FBI, anti-federal law enforcement hostility. He was calling on others to kill federal law enforcement, claiming that he felt he was fighting in his words, civil war. And it's unfortunately part of a broader phenomenon that we have seen, not just against the FBI, and this is important to add, but against law enforcement all across the country. Not just against law enforcement professionals themselves, which is appalling enough, but calling for attacks against their families, which is truly despicable.
And that man eventually was captured and eliminated, was he not?
Yes.
A few days later, was the Arizona FBI department the subject of armed violence, or not violence, but armed protesters?
Well, I know that our Phoenix field office has had a number of very concerning security incidents where people attempted to attack or breach the facility. I can't remember the dates of when that happened, but
all of this has happened kind of in the same sphere. It's been information that's been put out on social media and in just general, and by members of the Congress, questioning the FBI, questioning law enforcement in general, and this has had a deleterious effect on the safety of FBI officials, and you said others like justice. There was a story the other day, I believe, about people involved in the prosecution of the former president and threats to them, the DOJ personnel as well as FBI. Is that something that's going on presently? Is there efforts to have a unit at the FBI maybe look into how to protect and defend law enforcement personnel who are threatened with violence?
we did stand up a whole dedicated unit to focus on threats to FBI individuals, FBI employees, and FBI facilities because of the uptick that we saw over that time period.
The January 6th, was beyond a weaponization of government. It was a nuclearization of government against the government. I believe I heard that you said that you didn't have any prior notice or reason to believe that there would be such an event on January 6th. Is that correct?
We did not, to my knowledge at least, have prior knowledge of an attempt, a violent overthrow and breach of the Capitol building itself. Certainly we were concerned about and put out a number of products, intelligence products, to partners and others warning of the potential for violence more generally on that date.
So there have been, I think Tucker Carlson and some of the members' colleagues on the other side of the aisle have said that Wray Epps was a secret government agent in helping encourage this crime so as to make the president look bad. Do you have any knowledge of Wray Epps being a secret government agent?
No. I will say this notion that somehow the violence at the Capitol on January 6th was part of some operation orchestrated by FBI sources and agents is ludicrous and is a disservice to our brave, hardworking, dedicated men and women.
Director, I agree with you. I think the FBI has some of the most talented law enforcement people in our nation and in the world, and they are concerned about safety. They tend to, as I understand it, lean Republican, but they do their job down the line.